All right, enough about everything else. Here we are, getting into the draft of game number 1 between Buff Enjoyers and Abrahams. Buff Enjoyers, the returning champions of the weekly night shift, and Abrahams, the returning contenders of the weekly night shift. This matchup has been a common finals of the EU side of things, with Buff Enjoyers coming out more on top more often than not. Our first ban comes Pocket from Abrahams, and Buff Enjoyers are now obliged to ban something like Dormant? No, they ban Lash. Interesting. So Lash has been gaining a lot of popularity with this hybrid focus into gun, and it's been working pretty darn well. So Abrahams especially have been seeing a lot of success with it, so I'm not super surprised by the Lash being targeted with a ban, but I am surprised by Doorman not getting taken out. Billy is the first pickup of Abrahams. This leaves a lot of potential picks for Buff Enjoyers. I think Doorman is like the guy right now to pick up for them. They take Mirage first, and they're making their decision on which hero they feel is the best to pick up. And they take McGinnis. Okay, it is almost a mirror image copy of the picks and bans of the previous game, the difference being the Lash ban instead of the Doorman ban. Now, the reason I'm putting so much emphasis on Doorman, and there he is, there's the Doorman himself, is because Doorman allows your team to contest things from a safe position. Things that would otherwise be dangerous to contest, Doorman gives you the ability to contest from a safe spot because of the ability to walk through a door. And if the enemy walks through the door, they're risking Doorman closing the door behind them, and then they are just way out of position. So they can't really go through the door themselves, whereas the team that is on the side of Doorman can poke their head in, poke, and then if they feel like they've got a shot at doing anything, they just pile on through. Or they do it in order to dissuade their opponents from taking the objective. It's just such a powerful tool to be able to use the doors for long-range objective contesting. Abrahams also pick up Rem. Rem is a great healing support, banned out often enough in the second phase if it's not picked up in the first phase, and it's going to make Billy very, very difficult to kill. Now, Buff Enjoyers picked Abrams as their last pick to close things out, and then ban out the Venator, and Abrahams ban out the Calico. So, the backline diving burst hero of Calico, not going to be able to find Rem or Doorman too easily. They didn't want that being something in the toolkit of Buff Enjoyers, and Buff Enjoyers ban the tanky carry of the Venator, which works extremely well with Rem, because Venator just gains a ton of HP naturally. And Rem is great at burst healing. Now, Holiday picked up by Buff Enjoyers, so with heroes like Holiday, McGinnis, and even Abrams, these are heroes that can make it difficult for the opposing team to save their allies. Holiday can drag them away from the team. Abrams can charge them further away into a wall for a stun. McGinnis can put a wall up herself to cut the team and split the fight. And they synergize with each other pretty darn well. Abrahams pick up a Drifter for themselves, and Lady Geist. Lady Geist will be their scaling carry. She is also a hero that gains a ton of HP herself, so Geist is very likely to be just a very difficult hero to put down through not only her health swap, but also Rem's burst heals. And we see Apollo picked up for Buff Enjoyers, and a last pick, Mina. All right, so there's a lot of scaling coming out on the side of Buff Enjoyers through the Mina, the Mirage, the McGinnis. That's a lot of late game, and they kind of needed some good late game to contest with Geist and potentially Drifter, depending on how well Drifter's game goes. And Abrahams finish off with Wraith. Not a hero we see very often. Not a hero that is successful for the team of Abrahams. Not a hero that feels good in the current way that the meta shakes out. So this is a very unexpected pickup. Like, if they were going to pick up someone else, if they wanted extra carry duty, I'm shocked we're not seeing Infernus. Or maybe even a Viper, or there are so many other heroes. So Wraith is a hero that scales incredibly well. If she gets to the late game, she is extremely powerful. But she's got to get there, and she's gotten better at getting there compared to previous iterations of this hero, previous patches and such. But she's still a little bit slow, unless she gets like a few kills in lane or something, which is not the most likely thing in the world. It really feels like Abrahams is grasping a little bit with that pickup. Maybe they're practicing the crap out of it. Maybe their Wraith player plays Wraith all the time in pubs or even in scrims and sees a lot of success on it. But without knowing exactly what the behind the scenes are for the reason why Abrahams picked it, we can only really throw some conjecture out there and just say we hope they know what they're doing, right? Meanwhile, the side of Buff Enjoyers is like every hero makes sense in the current meta. You've got strong early game laners, you've got a pick-off hero or two, you've got a strong frontline tanker, you've got solid scaling from multiple heroes, you've got support potential likely to come out of the McGinnis. She's likely to build utility, spirit support, with a little bit of gun, but mostly spirit support. It feels like they've got kind of the whole package, and it feels like Abrahams have a couple heroes that are questionable or difficult to make work. Heroes like the Wraith that I mentioned earlier. The Drifter has gotten a lot better at being able to influence the game, at being a strong hero, and he's not the I have to find someone by themselves to kill them hero that he used to be, but he is still a hero that likes having allies that help him with the pickoff, and he doesn't have a lot of that going for him. Who else is diving the backline with him? Billy isn't really diving the backline. He's jumping in the faces of the front line and saying, you have to fight me. Rem doesn't want to dive the backline. Rem wants to be there healing the Billy in the front line. Wraith doesn't want to dive the backline. She wants to be the backline. Geist doesn't really do burst damage. She does consistent sustain damage. So she's not really a dive burster to go in with the Drifter. And that leaves Doorman, and Doorman can help you get to the backline and do stuff, but he's not the best hero for it. He's a lot better at, like I said before, being a really disruptive in the team fight and at contesting objectives from a range and making it difficult for the opponents to feel comfortable with contesting objectives against him. So the Drifter doesn't have a partner, basically, in doing that backline dive and that key hero pickoff that he is really good at. So we'll see how the lineup shakes out for Abrahams, but I gotta question a few things, and when you're questioning something on one team and you're not questioning anything on the other team, it feels like you gotta lean in favor of the other team, right? Buff Enjoyers just have a lineup that doesn't look like it's particularly weak at any of the stages. They've got burst damage, they got sustain damage, they got support, they've got utility, they got frontline, they got backline, they got pickoff, they got rotations, they got mobility, they've got zone control. There's just a lot that their team has, and some of those things Abrahams doesn't. So Abrahams is going to have to leverage what they do have And I think what they do have that is something that might be difficult for the buff enjoyers to deal with is, of course, the Rem burst healing capabilities on the front line. If Billy and Geist can get big enough that they become a problem that buff enjoyers have difficulty dealing with Rem sitting behind them, slapping on heals, extra resistances, that can absolutely be a catalyst for them to roll over buff enjoy. Oh, hiccup. Excuse me. Roll over the buff enjoyers, just like we saw them do to Leviathan. But it won't be easy. Now, give me just a second as we get into game number 1. All right, we are getting into game number 1. Welcome, everybody. Buff enjoyers versus Abrahams. And I have the names backwards. Let me fix that. Little tech things. There we go. All right, let's take a look at these lanes. In the middle lane, we have a Holiday Mirage facing off against a Doorman and a Drifter. I'm gonna say Holiday Mirage is going to have the advantage in this lane. Holiday and Mirage are both pretty darn strong laners. It's really hard to bully Mirage out of lane. Holiday does tons of poke and burst with those barrels of hers. So, aside from a good all-in kill, I gotta say things are in advantage of Holiday Mirage. Meanwhile, over here on the side lane, we have a McGinnis Abrahams. I keep saying Abrahams. McGinnis Abrams facing off against Rem and Lady Geist. This should be a, for the most part, like nobody dying lane unless the teams really want to play aggressive. I think what we're going to see is aggressive push versus aggressive counter push. The aggressive push coming out from the side of the McGinnis, and the counter push coming out from the side of the Geist and the Rem. In fact, Geist Rem is a great lineup, a great lane to try and counter McGinnis's early game pushing pressure. The Geist bombs and the pillows are great at killing off the turrets. And First Blood goes the way of Mina on the other side of the map. We haven't looked at that lane yet. Because we're seeing a bit of pressure here and a lot of low health bars, so I thought something might happen. But like I said, more than likely just going to be a farm lane for both sides, a pushing lane for the side of McGinnis. They're going to poke and prod at the tower, bit of chip it damage here and there until it goes down. Anyway. Oh, Abrams taking quite a lot of damage there. Geist not going to get charged into a wall. Will take a punch, though. Not a full punch, and the rotation is good from the side of Holiday. Geist goes down. Abrams still quite low. Rend not quite enough to finish him off, and I think Stalker's Mark didn't hit him? He got walled off, so Drifter was not able to get the chase down.
It won't help.
Wait, did I get the names back? No, I had the names right the first time. It is Abrahams on the left and Buff Joyers on the right. I'm apologizing, everyone. I'm dumb. Boy, I'm dumb. Okay, so the first 2 kills of the game go the side of Buff Enjoyers. Yes, this is right. Who? I just saw the name. Billy mixing it up with Apollo and Mina. Mina doing a fairly large amount of damage and getting out of there. You know, they both wind up about half HP. And the whole time, Wraith, untouched, just kind of sitting in the back, blasting damage at them. And we see an early pickup on the Mina of all heroes with the Rusted Barrel just to make it harder for Wraith to do her job, which is shoot her gun. Everything Wraith does requires her to shoot her gun for it to be good. Oh wow, Rem dove down and killed. I keep missing things. I'm sorry. Anyway, this tower has been super pressured as once more Holiday has rotated over to this side lane, and this is the first Guardian taken down at about 5 minutes. Will they be getting another kill onto Geist? Yes, they will. No fear being shown. Rem, he's not going to fight. And now some poke damage onto the Walker as well. This is a lot of early pressure. Now we'll see if McGinnis builds into gun or if McGinnis is going to build into more utility and Spirit. As I miss another kill, as Holiday continues to do work, has gotten every kill on her team so far, right? 3, 0, and 1. Okay, she's only been part of 4 kills, not all 5. Doorman takes quite a bit of damage. He's going to have to take a trip back home to heal.
That's going to help keep your blood on the inside.
Oh, it's going to be a Gun Guinness again, I think. Once more, a scaling Gun Guinness instead of a utility hero. Well, I will say, Gun Guinness works a lot better when your team is doing well. That's a fact. And this is a great start on the side of Buff Enjoyers. Already a 3 to 4K lead. Already taken down the first Guardian in the game. Holiday pretty low right now. Abrams charging in, grabs a good hold onto the Drifter, but eats that parry. Holiday pretty low. Able to get out, Drifter chased down. Are we still killless on the side of Abrahams? No, they've gotten one counter kill.
I see the doorman.
Dive in, rend the follow-up of the Stalker's Mark. Gonna do a lot of tick damage over time. How are we looking on Stalker's Mark level? It's almost max leveled. He's leveling up Stalker's Mark first. When that's max level, this does like 600 plus damage with basically no spirit investment. It's very strong tick damage over time. Abrams charging in, stun, heavy melee, and that is so much health gone. Looks like he's going down, finished off by the Holiday. Another kill on Holiday. She is racking them up left and right. Ultimate chase down. Tornado is not going to stop the teleport from the Wraith. Just chasing in, no fear on this Mirage, and Billy will go down. So far, the Wraith pickup not working out very well whatsoever on the side of Abrahams. She is really just getting pressured constantly. There is no respect given to this Wraith, and why would they respect her? She's not showing the kind of damage or counter push or aggressive push or anything that warrants respect. Mirage once more diving into the enemy with no fear, and the doorman gets lassoed. Shot down, another kill for Holiday.
I got something for all of ya.
Ultimate sleep comes out from Rem. Heavy melee onto the Abrams. Abrams brought very low. Will eventually get taken down. Will they counter kill? Tornado goes through. They're not quite killing the Drifter, but oh, an errant barrel finishes him off. A death onto the side of Holiday. She's finally dead. Mirage still alive for now, but after that parry, he will get chased down by a heavy melee. Rotations abound as Buff Enjoyers try to get a trade from that, and it looks like the trade will be the Guardian. Oh my god, the speed at which McGinnis kills that. It's already dead from full to nothing in a matter of seconds.
I see Wraith.
Yellow, Nisha.
And I don't think that Drifter's getting out of here. Down he goes. Another kill over to the side of Buff Enjoyers. And some pressure being shown onto the Walker. Itani Losan popped to dive in and kill the doorman, and the Walker is going to die. First Walker at 10 minutes. That's disgusting is what that is. All right, Geist versus McGinnis. Now, Geist has a massive health lead right now, and she also has a health buff from the bridge, but it's not enough as the rest of buff enjoyers to help out their McGinnis, keeping her alive. Urn being ran, and only 2 heroes over here on the side of Abraham's. They are almost guaranteed to give this up for free. They give it up. They're going to try and shoot some of these orbs. They got 1 or 2. Almost the entire bounty is going over to the side of buff enjoyers, and they are at a tidy 10k lead at 11 minutes.
Let's take out Billy.
Apollo getting chased. The doorman coming around and making it difficult for him to run away. It looks like he will go down. Abrams in the area, not going to find anyone though. Taking a look at Mina and her build. Honestly, not as green focused as I would expect it to be. Mina's, I think, one of, if not the squishiest hero in the game. Naturally, at least, so she needs some extra items to keep her safe.
I see the enemy.
That's why usually you see some quick green build up on her, item-wise. Barrels being collected over on the side of Abraham's. You know, they're closing that 10k gap just a bit.
I won't be deterred from my purpose.
Flawless advance, currently available.
Take out Drifter.
Just going to use it to back up. The rift has spawned on the left side of the map. Currently, there are more heroes on the left side for the side of Abraham's than buff enjoyers, and Abraham's are going to lose the drifter. I think they're going to let this rift get taken. Oh, wait. They're going for mid-boss. Sure, take your piddly little rift. We'll take mid-boss. That's the much bigger objective. There's a doorman door. And in fact, the doorman is going to send Mina into timeout. Billy goes down while Mina is in timeout, and that's not a good start for the side of Abraham's. They lost the first hero. A chase down onto the Wraith. Wraith teleports out. Is she going to be okay, though? Uh-oh, here comes Mirage. He's already got 2 charges in. I think Wraith is going to get killed. Yep. Wait. Yep, there she goes. And that means mid-boss is free to take. Oh, the ultimate from Rem. A good try. He doesn't get anything. It all goes the way of buff enjoyers. Rem sacrifices his life, tries his best to get a trade there, to steal at least one of the rejuvenators. They will lose 1 rejuvenator. Mina's gonna drop it, but
I see the doorman.
that's not the biggest deal in the world. She's gonna use it to chase down aggressively to doorman and just about finish him, set him up for a death at least. Mina's gonna get out, no problem. Wait a second. Stalker's Mark, follow up. Rend, heavy melee, finishes her off. Little too aggressive for her own good. Speaking of being too aggressive, Apollo is alone in the face of both Drifter and Lady Geist, but can he get out? He is the most mobile hero in the game. He gets down. That's 1 life. Can they take him a second time? Swap available on Geist sets him up for another kill. Silence on both of them. Apollo, cornered, will eventually be taken down. Takes them quite a bit. And now it's Mirage versus the world. Can Mirage defeat the world? As he chases down the side of the Drifter, he's getting very low. And with that tornado, down he goes. Geist taken down by Mirage's teammates. It is going to be a trade, though. Billy gets a kill onto the Mina. Not bad. Things are actually looking really good for Abrahams. They've gained a lot over the past minute. Sure, they lost the mid-boss, but somehow the mid-boss was in favor of Abrahams, despite Buff Enjoyers getting them. I don't know how that makes sense, but they pulled it off. Well done by them. Very impressive.
Now's the time to go shopping.
I think it comes down to Buff Enjoyers being just a little over-aggressive. You know, they felt like they were strong enough to just dive into the enemies alone, and filtering in one by one, they took some deaths they definitely didn't need to.
They will not escape their fate. The Shala will stop them.
Still,
What they sowed.
Abrahams taking advantage of it, playing well.
Fighting me was a grievous error.
God, Mirage is the most boring hero in the game. Billy getting a lot of damage, finishes off the Holiday without trouble, and this is what I was talking about. If the Billy can become a frontline threat and difficult to kill, Rem is a great support to make it difficult for them to kill him. To make him infinitely more, exponentially more tanky, basically. Geist goes down. Chase from Billy is eventually enough for Mina to go to the grave as well. Itani Losan, followed by the heavy melee, finishes off finishes off the Drifter, and Rem looks like he's actually going to get out. And in the meantime, a Walker taken solo by Wraith. Wraith has now taken down 2 Walkers by herself, and she's farmed now because of that. That's a lot of bonus gold going into her pocket alone, and that's what's allowed her to keep up with her opponents. Like I said it before, if Wraith gets the ability to just farm and isn't really
Chain gangs on cooldown.
opposed, I guess you could say, in the mid-game, she will become incredibly difficult to out-carry. So the fact that the game is even at 18 minutes, despite all of the objective advantages that Buff Enjoyers had, the mid-boss they took, speaks volumes about how well Abrahams has played this game. Lasso, that's a dead Drifter. They brought the entire squad to kill this guy. I don't know if they needed that much hatred for Drifter, but it certainly paid off for them.
The mother extends her hand to you.
You know, this is a pretty darn tanky McGinnis build with Fury Trance and Berserker. That's a lot of damage reduction for her, a lot of bonus damage for her as well, and attack speed. And she doesn't really need to cast spells, so Fury Trance is great on her. When you're building gun, at least, you don't need to cast spells much. Ultimate, not available for Holiday. She is going to be sent to the hotel. And not going to get out in time. That's a lot of extra damage, but it looks like she'll be okay at the end of the day. Huge ultimate from Billy. Pulls in just the Abrams, though, and that's a tanky guy. He is going to fall, though. Abrams taken down. We'll see if McGinnis can get some revenge for her teammate, but so far, not so good. Mina over the top, chasing them down. Nox Nostra. Silence and damage coming through. Not going to be enough to finish anyone off. They all scatter, and looks like the only heroes going down are Geist and Holiday. Geist actually went down. That's surprising. Billy, finally taken very low. Burst heal from Rem keeps him up for now, but he will eventually fall.
Today, my rates are definitely going up.
And once more, what do we see coming out of these team fights is victories for the buff enjoyers at the end of everything. Their carries, uncontested. Mirage currently taking this rift. They're also running the urn at the same time. Mirage will back out a little bit as he sees the doorman coming through. And he's just gonna fight him. All the way back into the walker. He does get back through the door. Door not closed on his face. And they're going to secure the rift. They're going to secure the urn. They're going to secure the kill onto the drifter. Everything coming up in favor of the buff enjoyers once more. And are they just going to rotate over to mid? Mid boss just respawned. Why not, right? Objective gaming. Yep, right into mid boss. No fear shown whatsoever. All right, now, they have to contest this, right? They gotta contest this. Let's see how it goes. Ultimate from Abrams over the top. Doorman throws a door down. First Rejuvenator, second Rejuvenator, and third Rejuvenator, all on the side of buff enjoyers. The fight erupts. And a quick retreat through the doorman door is going to wind up costing a couple of lives, I think, on the side of buff enjoyers. Hotel guest being spent, 1 life, 2 lives, 3 lives, all 3 of the Rejuvenators taken down, and all it cost them so far is Wraith. If they can get out of here, this is a huge win for them. Billy goes down. The chase down might be too much. The turrets finish off the Drifter. Geist looking worse for wear. She does have a nice heal for herself. Slowing Hex comes through. Oh, you can't escape Apollo. The most mobile man in the game. But really good use of movement and corner boosting does keep Geist alive for now. For now being the operative word, though. Door goes through and Geist is safe. Great movement. Great movement out of Geist. Rem barely makes his way out of there. Tag along keeping him alive for the time being. Healing up not only himself but his allies, but a walker taken down, and all of a sudden it's a 20k net worth lead in favor of the buff enjoyers. From 2k to 20k in 2 minutes. From rags to riches. A buff enjoyer story. Let's take a look at what kind of items our carries have gotten at this point. Ricochet has been completed by Wraith. She's working on that Mercurial Magnum upgrade to the Quicksilver Reload, and that'll very much up her damage, but she's still very much in farming mode. She needs at least 1 item after that, and then she'll feel happy to go fight. She'll feel strong. Now that was a really good try by Doorman. Cart, door, warp in order to follow through and hope that he pushes someone through it. Great attempt. A very clean rotation, just a little off the mark with the cart. Uh-oh, Holiday hits a Spirit Lasso and grabs Rem. That's the #1 hero you want to take out first in the fight. Their support is down. Their backline is rended. Darkness flows through, and they don't care. Buff enjoyers only have a W key. There is no S key on their keyboard. No retreat, only forward. I say as Holiday retreats. But Abrams continues to go forward. Plenty of damage onto the enemy. Pressuring them away. They are running for their lives back to their base, away from their walker. Swap on the health does keep Geist up, and Abrams taking a lot of damage, will be able to charge himself to safety. Geist continuing to do her best to fight, but this is too many heroes. This is too much damage. She's got to get out of here. All of the walkers have been taken by buff enjoyers. Abrahams have been properly put on the back foot, and that they can't let that happen before a fight. You can't let Rem get picked off. He's too important to this comp. The amount of effective HP that Rem gives to his team and the amount of utility that he brings with his items is too much for him to get picked off first in any fight. Just straight up. All right, Rift secured by Abrahams. They're going to get a little bit of a push on this lane, but here's the thing. There's no walker in that lane, so it doesn't matter. Here comes McGinnis. She'll just take care of it in a couple of seconds. No problem. Nothing to worry about here. These big, scary Void troopers aren't going to be able to make any sort of progress, and if anything, all they did was give a bunch of money over to McGinnis here. Sure, it first forced her to be over here, but what else did it get for you? Anything? Not really. It bought them a little bit of safety on their side of the map because they know McGinnis isn't going to be charging into them at the very least because they knew where she was. It gave them some map information. And that is valuable, but you kind of want to do something with that map information, and they didn't. They didn't even, like, farm these camps over here on the left side of the map. They're kind of just bundled together at the mid, and they're scared. They do find Holiday. All right. All right. They sat around for a while. They find Holiday. They pop the darkness. They get back.
I see Holiday.
Doorman trying to pull someone in. Abrams just charges through. They close the door on him, but he is Abrams. Ultimate nap time. Abrams taking a nap. He's going to get back up, and he will get taken down. A little too aggressive for his own good. Will there be any follow-up? Abrahams is thirsting for more blood. 2 heroes down on the side of Buff Enjoyers, and Abrahams advances. Buff Enjoyers also advances. Flawless advance coming out from the Apollo. Itani Losan charged up. Slices through a little too late to finish off the Geist. She is able to get that health swap, keeping herself healthy. And Abrahams taking a victorious fight. Unfortunately, not able to finish anyone off, but they are set up for a potential mid-boss contest. They've all gone down to it. And they'll shred mid-boss pretty darn quick. Mirage takes a lot of damage from, Jeez. I keep forgetting Drifter's name. My brain don't work too good. First Rejuvenator for Abraham, second, third for Abrahams. Abrahams takes all 3 Rejuvenators, gets 2 kills, and everything is now in favor of them. Buff Enjoyers. Suddenly, Buff Enjoyers are on the back foot. What a back and forth game. This is what you love to see. Now, Mirage and McGinnis continue to be absolutely untouched, and they are raid bosses, but Abrahams are doing a fantastic job of keeping the game from getting out of control, of finding their opportunities for pickups. A great use of the doorman doors earlier on to get that initial Holiday pickoff, and then Abrams jumped in to try and save his friend, which followed up with his death, which then led to the mid-boss, which then led to 2 more kills, and now leads to them having 3 Rejuvenators and map pressure. And that is all off the back of Doorman. And this is why we see Doorman banned out so often. Because he allows you opportunities like that. Look at that huge circle on the radar. That's the range of Doorman's doors. That's almost half the map, man. It's huge. Is Mystic Expansion on the door? Yeah, that's why it's so huge. I thought so.
Headed to Greenwich.
All right, we have a potential push being lined up. Holiday coming around, throwing a lasso, doesn't grab anyone, slowing Hex. Billy chain gangs, pulls her back in, and Holiday is going to die instantly. Billy trades his life, knocks Nostra, takes him down, but he has a respawn. Two Rejuvenators popped very early. Charge back on Billy. He's now in the wrong team. That's not where he wants to be. He does get heals from Rem, gets himself through the doorway, but dies anyway to the damage over time. A 1-for-1, actually, technically a 3-for-1. Billy died 2 times, and they got another Rejuvenator out of them in favor of Buff Enjoyers. And a gun buff for McGinnis. Drifter has a Stalker's Mark, gets the silence onto Mirage, not going to be enough to finish him, but half of his life is gone very quickly. Mirage, pulled back through the doorway, is actually just going to fight. Grabs the urn again, Doorman dead. Urn back in the possession of Buff Enjoyers. You know, Buff Enjoyers had that small slip-up. Abraham's had that really nice series of plays that got them the mid-boss, and then Buff Enjoyers are like, no. We're ahead here. You're not supposed to be able to do anything. And it's back to business as usual for them. Flawless advance, chunking through the Wraith.
They will return, and we must be ready.
And these base Guardians are melted. Like butter in a warm oven. Like butter in a fire. That's one thing that Gun McGinnis gives you is this incredible objective pressure. She murders objectives so fast. You'll notice that McGinnis is feathering the gun to keep it wound up because it is a minigun. It takes a moment for it to wind up. That's just a little technique that you can use with McGinnis since she does have such a massive ammunition magazine. You know, 185 shots right now is quite a lot. So you can feather a couple shots here and there just to keep it wound up. And that's her attack speed without the Medicinal Spectre out, which increases attack speed by... Oh, does it not do that anymore? Oh, never mind then. I'm sorry, they must have changed that at one point. It's just a really, really, really good heal.
Mid-boss has arrived.
Mid-boss number 3 is here. This is still a very close game. 12k lead for Buff Enjoyers right now, and they do have the double raid boss going on. Okay, ultimate from Billy. Billy in the front lines, pulling everything in. Knocks Nostra over the wall is not enough to stop Apollo from getting killed. Mina, disarmed. Is that enough to kill Geist? She's holding her ultimate. Sitting at the corner there. No target for her to steal health off of. Well, there is a holiday there, but she's gonna jump up to the top and be perfectly fine. Chase onto the Billy. I think everyone's just gonna back out from Abraham's. They got their one pick off, and they're gonna be happy with it. Billy is going a weird direction. He's actually coming up behind them, knocking the Mirage. But no, they got a doorway. They're fine. I was gonna say knocking a Mirage back and potentially grabbing him, but nope. Everything's okay. Okay, Curse comes down onto Billy, preventing him from casting any spells for a moment there. Abrams, keeping himself alive. McGinnis, still basically full health. Finally, the swap of health comes out from the Geist, but it's not good enough. McGinnis stands and delivers, continuing to win this fight. Slowly but surely, she's taken down too many heroes, ripping through her. Wraith eventually standing tall. Italiano-san being used to escape.
Wraith is giving us
Wait, Wraith chasing down? No, the ultimate is going to pull him right back, and Apollo is about to die. The empire of Buff Enjoyers is crumbling.
Spill forth.
as Abrahams win another fight. And it's going to be another mid-boss for them. And the later this game goes, the more this mid-boss is going to pay off for your team. Oh, the ultimate gets caught on the doorway. I've never seen that before. Holiday not able to actually kidnap the person that she grabbed. Chain gang into the pool, into the blasted, into the heavy melee, and they were able to get one respawn for Holiday, but this is a lot to ask for her to get out of here. Looks like they're going to leave her be because of the rift that spawned. They're going to take that rift and use it to push in heavily, more than likely. Maybe they'll use it to help secure that lane with the secure of the urn as well. Looking a lot like it. Urn picked up. He's going to clear this wave and then run it on over.
Let's push green. Let's push Greenwich.
And Abrahams have pulled themselves out of the ditch that they were in, and they are now the ones standing as king of the hill with a 14k net worth lead for them. And 2 rejuvenators. This could be a difficult hold on the side of buff enjoyers. And Billy, no fear, just diving in. This is a very tanky goat with a rem to heal him up as well. He is taking a lot of damage, but turns around, stays in. The first kill goes down onto Apollo. This is that scaling issue I said that Apollo has, is that late game he starts to fall off. His damage is still good, but his survivability not so much. Especially into Billy, who, when he uses Chain Gang, turns off 3 out of 4 of Apollo's spells. I think if Apollo wants to play this game, what he needs to build is not this Spirit Burn. No, no, no. What he needs is Unstoppable so that he can actually press his buttons when Billy is in his face. Because every single one of the last, 3 fights, Billy dives in specifically to Apollo and pops Chain Gang on Apollo, and Apollo can't get away. And then even as Chain Gang runs out, if they're not dead, he's got Slowing Hex as well to throw onto Apollo. And that's enough to prevent Apollo from casting spells for more than enough time to kill him. Billy by himself can kill Apollo through that. At least at this point, he's pretty darn farmed. All right, Billy's gonna lose his rejuve. The charge does not come at the right time, and Billy just dives in. Pops the ultimate, dives in, loses half his health, but is perfectly fine at the end of the day. Doorman goes down, respawns. Can he get out? He gets knocked out of the door over and over. He keeps trying to get out, but he gets dropped to the ground, and I think he might be dead. Yup, Drifter's dead, Doorman's dead. He keeps trying to get to the door, can't make it. And an ill-fated push from the side of Abrahams.
Allow me to provide the answer to the age-old question.
Geist getting chased down, pops her refresher, gets her ultimate back up, and is gonna just have to fight. Itani Losan silences, does some damage, but I think they're gonna be perfectly fine backing off. The Wraith is the question mark right now. She's getting chased. Blood Tribute, ultimate to keep the Abrams away from her. Huge heal from Rem, keeping Wraith from death, and she teleports to safety. She'll be fine. Ultimate pulls in Billy, and Billy is just murdered.
This is just the beginning.
What happened? Abrahams, you guys were up. You had 2 rejuvenators. You had an enemy hero dead on the side of buff enjoyers, and they just flip it all on their head inside of their own base. They are able to take the fight and then pressure immediately into the enemy base, and they push so fast with this McGinnis. It is just a tug of war between these two teams. And the fact that Buff Enjoyers, despite being down by almost 20k net worth right now, have just won a huge fight and gained the base pressure advantage says a lot about how back and forth this game has been. Rift spawn, it looks like Buff Enjoyers are going to be grabbing this Rift, no problem, no contest. But we're beyond the point where the Rift really does a lot. It just gives you a free pressure on one lane for the most part. And Wraith will just vacuum that up and clear it no problem as she has Ricochet. And 3, 2, 1, down it goes.
I'm out of here.
Mid-boss has arrived.
All right, this is probably the deciding moment of the game. The mid-boss contest at 40 minutes. Oh no, Holiday, who did she grab? She got cursed out of it immediately. She does not grab anyone. Billy diving in with his ultimate, doing a great deal of damage and disruption. Does take a lot of counter damage from McGinnis. She's shredding through him, backs out through the doorway, healed up by the Rem, stunned up by the Abrams, continuing to fight. Billy still not dead. Itani Losan takes him low, but not enough to kill him. The doorway not closed in their faces. Rem was picked off in the middle of this melee. Wraith still chasing the opponents down. They're able to get a kill onto the Mina. They lose their Geist, though. Wraith, taken down very low. She's got to be very careful. McGinnis killing more heroes. She's too strong. She's down to no HP. She eventually ticks out. It's just too much of a lead for Buff Enjoyers in this fight right now. I'm not sure Wraith can turn this around. The damage is too much. The doorman will not be getting out of here either, I don't think. Wait, he sort of gets out of there. Gets a parry. He might be alive. Good for him. Unfortunately, his team is dead. And they're dead long enough that his base is about to die. A valiant effort on the side of Abraham's. They flipped this game on its head on multiple occasions and almost turned it completely around, and one last lasso just to guarantee the final kill. The game will go the way of Buff Enjoyers, but it was not free. They had to work for it. Abrahams really took them to task and almost pulled it off. They were this close to pulling out a victory in that first match. I can't wait to see the graph on this one. It's got to be back and forth. It's got to be a lot of back and forth. Yeah, a fair bit of back and forth. Where the lead balloons and then closes and then swaps and then balloons and closes and swaps a few times. Now, looking at this game and what went right and what went wrong for certain teams, I'd say one of the biggest problems over on the side of Abraham's was Rem getting caught out as the first kill, and sometimes that's just Rem popping out of Billy when his tag-along runs out and just not getting an opportunity to get to safety. But I feel like there needs to be a little more communication on that and not allowing Rem to die early on, because like I said before, Rem was kind of the linchpin of their ability to team fight. And anytime Rem was killed off early, Buff Enjoyers would take that fight and would just start to snowball it. They needed that extra sustain coming out of their support, the extra disruption of a couple of his spells as well, especially his ultimate. And when they weren't provided that, it just looked too difficult for them to take a fight. I will say, very impressive by them. Abraham's looked incredibly strong. They were a step away from winning on a couple of occasions. And that was after coming back from a pretty hefty deficit. So they've got it in them to be able to beat Buff Enjoyers. Buff Enjoyers are not untouchable. They can be defeated. But they've proven themselves to be very difficult to take down, even when it looks good for the enemy team. The enemy team, they were scaling well. They had great positioning and good usage of their spells. They were constantly canceling out Holiday's ultimate as fast as they could and preventing her from being able to kidnap people too well. But Buff Enjoyers continued to just not drop on either Mirage or McGinnis. And as long as those two raid bosses continued surviving over and over, you see their net worth just 56k and 54k. Massive problems that are difficult to deal with. And while Wraith put up a valiant effort, fighting just one of them is difficult. Fighting two of them is impossible. So a great try by Abrahams and a fantastic game number one. We'll see if they can pull out something maybe a little different, maybe a little stronger in the early game for themselves, because they were playing from behind for the most of that game. And I feel like if they could get themselves a good start and play from ahead, maybe they could close it out and maybe Buff Enjoyers aren't so good from behind, because the moment they started taking some L's, they started stacking those L's, and they had to really like shake themselves off and be like, what are we doing? We gotta stop feeding and throwing the game away. All right, I'm really looking forward to game number two. Game number one was great. So after the break, we'll be into game number two, and hopefully it'll be another absolute banger of a back and forth game.